are now tuned in to Hustle Her Way, the podcast, a weekly podcast that celebrates and empowers the ambitious women who are rewriting the rules, breaking barriers, and making their mark in the world. I'm your host, KT, and I'm thrilled to have you guys along on this exciting journey. In a world where opportunities for women are expanding every day, Hustle Her Way, the podcast is now your go-to destination to find inspiration, motivation, and great advice from extraordinary women as myself and other guests that we will have on this podcast who have paved their own paths to success. I believe that every woman has a unique story to tell, and here we're going to uncover the triumphs, challenges, and lessons learned for some of the most remarkable female entrepreneurs, leaders, and innovators across various industries. Every week we will have either a solo episode or an interview that encaps what a hustle her way mindset looks like and what you can do to find your own hustle. Thanks for staying tuned, and let's get right on into the show. To another Hustle Her Way, the podcast. So guys, thank you for staying tuned. I'm loving the positive comments that you guys are leaving. Do not forget to always, if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Share this information with your newfound besties. And if you're listening to this wherever you listen to podcasts, don't forget to like and make your ratings. So let's go ahead and get straight on into it. So last week, you guys know I talked about how Hustle needed a whole new rebrand, and we talked about some of the tips of understanding what Hustle looks like, what it could look like, and how that could change for your mindset about hustling. So I know we talked about hustle last week, but this week we're going to talk about imposter syndrome. Dum dum dum. Yes, imposter syndrome. Y'all, if y'all watching this on YouTube, I think my mic is a little too high, but we're gonna keep going. So I know as women, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about when I'm saying imposter syndrome. And I think we just need to have a candid conversation and understand that all women especially go through the imposter syndrome. This is something that always comes up, and it should not be a woe is me moment. We should really take this information, take that time, and regroup on how we need to move from here there on. So we're gonna go ahead and get straight on into it, but first, life updates. Do we have too many life updates? I feel like the last update was as much as going on in my life right now. School is here. We're trying to make do. I do have a sort of new business venture. I wouldn't say it's a new business venture. It's just a added on thing. So if you guys don't know, I'm the owner and lead publicist of KGT Communications, which is a public relations and social media marketing firm that is based in Birmingham, Alabama, but we showcase and do things for clients all over the United States. So by the time you hear this podcast, I actually just launched my very first course. So really thought about it, and this is going to play into kind of the reason why, but also about burnout. I'm trying to get away from done for you services. Although I love PR, as though I love, you know, catering to clients, I'm really on the burnout of done for you services because I do it for myself, I do it for my business, I do it for work. So having actual done for you clients has really just gotten to the point like I'm just exhausted, and I still want to be able to serve people and help them with their public relations and social media things, and I think this would be the best way to do that. So I will have a course called Becoming a Pro, PR edition. So basically it will be a coaching course cohort. I am accepting 6 lovely individuals in the beginning so they can get used to it, so I can figure out when I really launch what that looks like. So this is of course going to be a beta group, and to figure out what I want to do and how I want to do it and how I want to get into the consulting and coaching firm. So that is probably the life update that you guys were looking for. So nevertheless, here we go. So what is the definition of imposter syndrome, all that kind of stuff? So I have it pulled up here and I'm going to read it to you guys. So it says the imposter syndrome is the condition of feeling anxious and not experiencing success internally despite being high performing in external and objective ways. This condition often results in people feeling like a fraud or phony and doubting their abilities. So that definition is taken from Better Up, and basically there's actually a whole cycle. There are actually different types of imposter syndrome. I didn't know this until I started looking all this up. So like I said, I'm reading this straight from where I got this information from, because I want you guys to understand more about imposter syndrome, to figure out how that shows up in your life and all that kind of stuff. So the very first type is the perfectionist. Perfectionism and imposter syndrome often goes in hands because the perfectionists set excessive high goals for themselves, and whether they fail to reach the goal, they experience major self-doubt and worried about measuring up. 2 is the superwoman / man. So this is people who experience this phenomenon are convinced that they're phonies against real deal colleagues. They often push themselves harder at work and harder to measure up to, but this is just a false cover-up for their insecurities, and the work overload may harm not only their mental health but also their relationships with others. And I kind of feel like that type actually fits more into what I was talking about, hustling, and why people find it very toxic. I think a lot of people who find it toxic kind of fall into this Superman, Superwoman trope. So then we have the third type, which is the natural genius. People with this type believe they need to be a natural genius to actually amount to anything in their life. So these imposters set their internal bar impossibly high, but they don't judge themselves based on expectations. They also judge themselves based on getting things right on the first try. So for example, if you feel like because you're not good at math you shouldn't be an accountant, that's kind of if you're just not a natural born genius, you just not gonna get it. That's how you feel. So the fourth person is the soloist. So sufferers who feel as though asking for help reveals their phoniness are what these people consider soloists. It's okay to be independent, but not to the extent that you refuse assistance so that you can prove your worth. And the fifth type is the experts. Experts measure their competency based on what and how much they know or how much they can do. Believing they will never not know enough, they fear being exposed as inexperienced or unknowledgeable. So who in the bunch of listening to this kind of feels like they fit the trope of a couple of them? I'm not even gonna tell y'all no lie. I think specifically when I have imposter syndrome, when it shows up the most, when it does this, it's the perfectionist, and also the Superwoman, Superman trope. And I'm going to get into some reasons why and show you guys how I feel that researching this has really made me understand where my imposter syndrome works and how that relates to me in my life. So I told you guys back when I was getting out of college, I decided to get a job in a hotel because I felt like doing that would help me move up and I can be into their PR and marketing department in some years. But I ended up leaving the hotel industry because, like I said, I got burnt out. I was working days in, days out, and I kind of wanted a desk job, like just a 9 to 5, because I ended up switching hotels. They put me on the 3-11 shift, and I felt like that was just my whole life gone, and I was working so much, so that wasn't my life. So when I was at the trucking company, when I felt like I wasn't going to measure up, I really felt like the perfectionist played a big part, and also the Superman, Superwoman trope, because at that time, that's when I started being my busiest. So I had to perfect everything. When I first started freelancing, it had to look a certain way for me to start. It had to be a certain client for me to have to do this. But also I was being I won't say the other word that I was thinking about myself, but I was really worried that I wasn't amounting up to things because I didn't have a PR job coming out of college. How would anybody take me seriously? Because I did the work, I did the internships, I did the networking things, I did all this stuff, and it still did not happen. So really did this. And then also I feel the Superwoman, Superman plays into actually my life right now. If you guys know, I am the PR manager at a police department, local police department, and it's already, I'm the youngest person on a quote-unquote leadership type realm. Also, in the position I am, most PR managers around the city are way older than me, or this is probably their second career, where this is me still trying to maneuver in my first career. And I feel like I had to overcompensate because when I first got there, I felt so incompetent, because it's just like they're gonna figure out I'm a fraud type thing. Like, yes, I had my job at the airport. Yes, I had all this freelancing. Yes, I took these classes. Yes, I went to school. None of that mattered to me at that point. When I first got there, I was like, I have to do all of these things to prove myself that I'm not a fraud. And now thinking about it, in this moment in life, I got burnt out because I was staying late at the office. When I got off, I was at home trying to make flyers. I was still coming up with strategies. I found myself, you know, every time the phone rang, I had to answer it on the first ring. And if I didn't answer it on the first ring, they gonna find out I don't know what I'm doing. I had to overcompensate, and thinking back on it, it was my own insecurities. It was me thinking that I did not belong, because how can someone who just really started their career end up in this prominent position that people always want? Literally, there's still some people there right now, older women who went out for the position, that's still mad at me because they felt like I wasn't supposed to be there. And I felt like I was proving them right, so I had to do everything to the T. I did not spend time with my family and friends during this moment because I'm like, oh, I gotta work, I gotta be on call, I gotta be, you know, available when somebody call. Like, if the phone ring and it's you know, catastrophic, I gotta be there. I did not take a vacation. I did not do a lot of things that I should have done because of this imposter syndrome. Like, we really don't think about it until we're in it, but it's ludicrous that I let my own insecurities basically push me to the edge that all I did was work. That's all I did. All I did was work. And being stressed out, didn't have any hobbies. I felt like I wasn't supposed to be there. I felt like at any moment my job was gonna be taken away because I don't know why I felt like I lied, because I didn't. Like, this was my work, this was my stuff that I did when I first got there. But I just felt so inadequate, and a lot of stuff played into that because I had, like I said, women who went out for this position basically telling me I wasn't enough, or how could she get this position because she's so young, so she has to be doing something crazy or anything like that. So I really let imposter syndrome talk me out of just coming in, just doing my work. And it wasn't until I was burnt out and now on a brisk, well, I don't even feel like being here because I'm working this hard and nobody sees it. So imposter syndrome can really turn into a burnout season because you're doing so much just to prove yourself wrong. And what are you proving? You know, like we always say, if you work yourself to death, your job do not care. They might send you a flower to your family, but your position gonna be out there the next day. And it wasn't really until this year, because I've been there almost 2 years now, I really sat down and was like, this has to serve me in some capacity. This can't be what I want. This can't be the burnout that I wanted. This is not what I envisioned when I got this position, and this is not going to continue what I was going to do. So I literally had to set boundaries. On the weekends, if it's not catastrophic, do not call me. When I'm on vacation, I put in my outer box emails. I am not available by phone calls or messages. Because when I used to go on vacation, people used to call me even though they saw the outer office box, and I still answer the phone. Y'all, I'm not gonna lie. I left that lovely little phone they gave me. I left it here in Birmingham. And I'm not afraid to say it. It was turned off, left in there, because it's like, I can't do anything from where I'm at now. So why take it with me to check up on my team, to figure out if somebody, no, I'm not even finna put myself through all that stress when I wanted to relax for my birthday. I have set boundaries within my team. I love my team. I don't regret my team for the longest, but I will keep telling them, hey, if you need something, call me, call me, call me. They don't need me. They've been working around me long enough to know what I like, what needs to happen. They do not need to call me. So one thing I found with dealing with imposter syndrome, the first thing you have to do is look within yourself and find out what's the insecurities that's causing the imposter syndrome. My insecurity was, I felt like I didn't belong. I felt because I was so young that I didn't earn my way into having this position, and that I didn't work hard enough. But y'all know me, I busted my ass at the airport trying to do stuff. I busted my ass in freelance, and I did a lot of stuff to prove myself. So why do I have to keep proving myself when I got the job? They called me, I didn't call them. True story. Like, they called me to come interview for this position. Sent the email that same day, got a job offer that day. So why am I insecure about being here? They wanted me here. This wasn't no, oh, we passed over, you came back, and maybe we gonna see how that work. They called me. I got to be confident in that, to know that that is a part of what the insecurities was, that I felt like I was inadequate, but I'm not. I am a damn good communicator. I'm a great publicist. I'm a great branding person. I'm a great person for social media. I have to know that in my learning, in my creativity, that is who I am, and I have to stand firm on that. Two, like I said, I had to set boundaries, because if I don't set those boundaries, that imposter syndrome comes in and wants me to do more work, or wants me to keep going because I I don't know what's going on, or I have to prove my worth. So, 1, understand those insecurities, set those boundaries, and 3, go to therapy, y'all. Y'all, I did not know this was really all imposter syndrome. I was just like, it is what it is, you know, until I went to therapy. My therapist told me that this is what really triggered a lot of stuff in my life, especially last year. I was defeated, I was depressed, I was a lot of things, all because I let imposter syndrome take me to the deep end of this. And then I was unhappy. I was so many things during that time, and it was all because of imposter syndrome. And it wasn't until I went to therapy that I figured that out. That is crazy to me. That is ludicrous. For months I let myself work myself up to figure this out, and it was all stemming from imposter syndrome. Yes. So take your butts to therapy. I don't get any kickback from BetterHelp for this, but that is where I found my therapist. Check out BetterHelp. Also, check out with your insurance companies to figure out, because sometimes I know with my insurance and other people's insurance, they actually give you free counseling sessions, so it doesn't have to be a copay or actual, you know, run against your insurance. So see if you could go that route, but also no, just get a therapist, y'all. Get one. Get one. So that is my story on imposter syndrome. Although I said a lot, I first want you guys, do not beat yourself up if you do have imposter syndrome. There are so many educated, experienced powerhouses out here that suffer with imposter syndrome to this very day. Literally, as I was looking this up, I saw a quote from Dr. Maya Angelou. And y'all just don't know, that lady is one of my muses. She's one of the reasons I probably got into writing when I was younger. Hell, I recited her poem Still I Rise from memory in kindergarten. She had a quote that said, I wrote 11 books, and on that 12th book I still said, uh-oh, this is going to be the book, or this is going to be the poem, or this is going to be the instance where people find out that I've been faking all along. Y'all know how much of an incredible career Dr. Angelou had. A powerhouse of a writer, a powerhouse of a speech giver. Even when she got into, you know, being in camos and acting, just the presence of her spirit when I saw her. She's this great, ambitious woman, and you mean to tell me a person who put out 11 books still had imposter syndrome? And I think it goes back to us just being women, and you know, we feel like because for so long we had to fight for things, that now when they come effortless, that is something's wrong. That something's wrong with us. Somebody's gonna find out that we don't belong here because we fought for so long to get to where we are. But know that you deserve, you worked hard, you deserve everything and more in your life. And I'm not just saying this to y'all, I'm saying this to myself because I'm kind of struggling through that right now. But know that you did the work, you put in the time, and receive your flowers, because you made the ultimate sacrifice to get to where you are, and you deserve it. Snaps for me, snaps, snaps, snaps for everybody. Snap it up. But that is today's episode. Thank you guys for staying tuned. I hope this fulfills you as much as it fulfills me, because I'm not just talking to you guys. I am talking to myself when I hear these episodes, because some of these things are things I've gotten through, or these are things I'm going through. And you know, we really don't document the journey while we're going through the journey. We document it when we're on the other side. And I feel like, although you could tell me from a place of how to get over it, we never talk about the emotions and the roller coaster issues and things that go off during the journey that's unspoken. And I really feel like sometimes we have to talk through that journey to really give you the real emotions and the realness behind it. So nevertheless, again, thank you guys for staying tuned, and I will see you in the next podcast. Bye, y'all.